Hi, I'm Annalise Dowd, and welcome to the first English 201 Digital Humanities video, Intro to Digital Humanities and Using Hypothesis. This video is the first of a weekly series of short videos introducing you to the week's topic and demoing a DH tool you'll be using in this class. So where are we headed and what is this video all about? Well, first, I'll introduce you to the concept of digital humanities, a term you're likely unfamiliar with and you may very well be confused by, and that's okay. A lot of you won't have experience in this area, and that's why it's an introductory course. I'll then be showing you how to annotate and participate in discussion with your classmates through the use of a digital annotation tool called Hypothesis. So who am I behind this screen? My name is Annalise Dowd, and I am a librarian here at UNBC, specializing in access services, the English department, and psychology. So I was lucky to have participated in digital humanities projects while I was in graduate school at McGill, and I'm really excited to get the chance to be the embedded librarian in this course, which basically means that I'll help instruct and answer questions throughout the duration of the course. And also, here's my puppy Magnus, who isn't relevant to the class, but I'm just a little obsessed with and hang out with all day, every day. So one of the most important things to start out with is that this is a class where you'll be confronted with new technologies and need to acquire new skills. So definitely reach out for help when you need it. Mattermost is the place to go first because you'll be able to very quickly get access to help from myself or Grant or even from your peers if they have encountered similar situations and have found ways to find solutions for problems. So Mattermost is the first place to go, but you can also email me or book an appointment with me at the appointment booking page if you need some more in-depth help and want to discuss the issues that you're having or working through a particular problem. I have a list here of specific things that I can help with. So let's dive into the content. So the humanities, what are we talking about here? So before we look at digital humanities, let's make sure that we have a shared understanding of what the humanities is. So the humanities has been defined for centuries as the study of culture from the documents, objects, and artifacts created by humans. So disciplines we often think about when we say humanities are history, philosophy, English literature, visual art, anthropology. It's a pretty vast field that encompasses a lot. But historically, what these disciplines had in common was the study of the material. So whether it's a written text or a painting or an ancient relic, the work of the humanities was often requiring some sort of interaction with a tangible object of study. So something physical that you could hold in your hands. So if the study of the humanities has been focused on the physical, what are the digital humanities? Are they just digitized books and images? Well, not quite. But if you're having difficulty figuring out what exactly the digital humanities are, you aren't alone. In fact, there's a website called whatisdigitalhumanities.com where there are crowdsourced definitions of DH from those in the field. There's hot debates between them, and it can certainly feel a little overwhelming to dive into this sort of discussion, and it can be easy to get bogged down about what DH really is. So because of this, I think it's best to start with a definition that's simple and clear so that we can then move on to exploring DH projects and actually doing some digital humanities work ourselves. So I especially like digital humanities practitioner Amanda Visconti's definition in that she states that DH is research, teaching, and learning about literature, history, and the arts, so the humanities, in digital ways. So building and using software, websites, and data sets that are available publicly. So the general public, as well as scholars and peers, are able to interact with that work and even contribute to it. And here's sort of the key thing, and sometimes what is hardest to grasp, is that humanities thinking is crucial here as well. So we aren't simply just making a website or making something digital, but the actual purpose of using a digital tool or method will serve a humanistic purpose. So it will both pose and answer greater questions about literature, history, society. So because DH encompass so many different things, it's difficult to fully understand it with definitions alone. So it looks like a lot of different things when we explore it. And this is a way to truly understand what DH is. So I'm going to show you 2 projects to give you an idea of what DH can look like and give you a starting point to explore further with other projects that exist freely online. So first we have the Southern Literary Trail story map. It's an interactive map of writers from the southern United States, which connects literary figures to place, time, and each other in ways that's not possible with a book, simple written pages. You can see how people and places here are hyperlinked, which means that they're linked so you're able to click on it, go off to another page, and explore it further. So an example of this is clicking on Flannery O'Connor, an author, and here, if we're so inclined, we can learn more about her and her work, and it's sort of a choose your own adventure in terms of what piques your interest and what sort of aspects of this project most interests you and you want to explore. So the next project we're going to look at is called Casting Shakespeare, How Age, Gender, and Race Affect Casting. So this is one example of how DH is not simply just, digitizing images and texts, but it's a way to actually use these tools to analyze societal norms and to take a look at, big sociological questions. So through the use of interactive graphing here and color and image, we're able at a glance to see the intersections of gender and race at play in terms of people of opposite gender playing different roles, as well as visible people of color in roles in Shakespeare plays as well. So we can also, similar to Story Map, hover over specific areas here, bubbles, and be able to see more information about each of the actors. And if we want to, then we can explore those further as well. So a major aspect of DH is the fact that it's a community. So both in terms of working collaboratively, but also bringing the dialogue of humanities scholarship into the digital realm. So in creating digital humanities projects, different than writing a book, say, there are technical skills that need to be developed and shared, and resources and funds that need to be pooled. But however, in terms of scholarship and discourse, this collaboration and dialogue is not necessarily new in the humanities. So scholars in the humanities have always been collaborative and in conversation with each other, just in different ways. So with physical text, one way this was manifested was marginalia, which was comments, critiques, ideas, or even sketches drawn in the margins of books. This practice is inherent to the humanistic tradition and allows one to comment on, question, argue with, and provide clarity on the ideas of others. This is something that's been used for centuries. And although librarians and teachers may have reprimanded you, has been used by, some of the great thinkers of both modern and long past. So in our online context, what would something like this look like? One way to write digital marginalia is with online annotation tools like Hypothesis, which you've been asked to use to annotate your required readings in this class. With Hypothesis, you're able to not only create annotations directly in the text, but it's also a tool that promotes dialogue and communication, creating a community of users. Where if you highlight and mark up a physical book of your own, those notes are primarily for your eyes or those you choose to share with. Specifically, tools like Hypothesis allow you to make the process of annotation into dialogue with a much wider community. So for the demo portion of this video, I'm going to briefly show you how to use Hypothesis for this class. So here we are at the Hypothesis homepage to get started with Hypothesis. So let's click on the Get Started button. If you haven't already, create a free account. Then you need to add Hypothesis to your browser. So if you use Chrome, click on the Chrome extension. If you use Firefox or another browser, click on the Hypothesis bookmarklet. I recommend you use Chrome or Firefox as your browser, just because they work a little bit better with browser extensions. So here's one of your readings from week 1, Digital Keys for Unlocking the Humanities Riches. So let's take a peek at how Hypothesis interacts with this particular reading and how we could annotate it. So looking at the bookmark bar, here's our Hypothesis icon here. We can also see that there are 18 annotations on the page. Cool. Let's give it a click, open it up, and here we're able to see the annotations that are publicly available. So there might also be private groups that we can't see, but these are the annotations that are public. These are actually almost all from our previous iteration of English 201 back in 2019. So some of these comments might actually be interesting to use as a starting point and reply to, but we'll get to that in just a second. So first, to do anything here to annotate or comment, we need to log in. So my credentials are stored, so that was real quick. To annotate, it's pretty easy. If we go down to the text, we just highlight a particular section that we think is interesting, that we want to annotate, and click Annotate. Here we can put in our comment about this particular sentence, and then post to public so that we can all see it and interact with it. Something else you can do, as I mentioned, is reply to other people's comments. This is a way to have a thread forum-like experience and be able to actually start a discussion, not only about an article or work as a whole, but a very specific part of it, which is pretty cool. So another thing you can do is make a note on the entire page. So instead of selecting just a section, we can make a note, say, about what we think about the article as a whole. So you'll notice wherever you can make a note or annotation, here it says add new tags. This is a way to be able to keep track of your annotations when you're looking through them on your own page. So here we can see some folks have used Digital Humanities, English 201 as tags. And by doing that, we can click on it and see all of the tags that match English 201 in Hypothesis, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's go back. So I'll also show you how to explore tags in terms of your own account and looking at your own annotations. So clicking on your name here you can see I have 6 annotations right now, and I have 1 tag. Hopefully you'll have more. And you can actually search through your tags. So say if you wanted to see and make sure that you have a number of annotations from a certain week, you can look at tag as a search term and then use one of your tags to search. And then it will bring up the exact tag that you're looking for. Yeah. So that is just a tidbit about Hypothesis. There's a lot you can do with it. Once you get used to it and get it open and running, it's pretty intuitive. But of course, like anything with the class, if you are having any problems, please reach out to us. We're happy to help and get you all set up. So thank you so much for watching and listening. This will likely be the longest video as we, had some introductory stuff going on. But thanks again, take care, and see you soon.